Los Angeles schools closed in March of 2020. Yes, almost one full year ago, and they never reopened. While schools in other states have since opened back up, and some schools in other areas that could do so safely have also reopened, LA County and certain other California schools see no end in sight to the lockdowns and closures. On today's video, I'm going to tell you why schools in California are actually closed. Hint, it has nothing to do with health and safety. I'll talk to Ryan Craig, who wrote a fantastic article in Forbes recently about the school closures. We'll discuss the impact this is actually having on kids and parents like me, and I'll tell you what the future looks like for California schools. This is going to be one awesome video, if I do say so myself. Let's go. Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Danny Batsalkin, and today's video is very personal for me. I have 3 kids that can't go back to school because I happen to live in Los Angeles County, where schools have been closed since last March. That's right, you guys, almost one full year without in-person school, which means a full year of 3 kids at my house running around all day. Let's dive in and examine what happened in LA County and California in general. Let's talk about the reasons that schools here have been closed for so long. If you're a parent like me, or you're just interested in what's happening in California, then be sure to stay until the end, as I'll give you my perspective on the matter, and I'll also tell you what I think will happen in the future. By the way, I want to give you one quick caveat. This video is not political. I don't care what your political affiliation or stance is. This video is strictly about one thing: getting the kids back in school and why that hasn't happened in LA and in California. And so if this topic is something that you're also passionate about, please do me a quick favor. Help me spread the word about this subject by hitting the like button on this video. That will tell the YouTube algorithm that this video is important and it should be shown to more people, and I will greatly appreciate it. So thank you very much. Now, be sure to also connect with me on your favorite social media platforms. All the links are in the description below, and text me at 310-706-2271 to join my text community for all kinds of giveaways, exclusive content, and to connect with me directly. Let's take a look back at how all of this happened. Last March, when the pandemic hit, LA County, as well as many other counties across California and the US, closed all schools in an abundance of caution. By the way, guys, I absolutely hate that phrase. Has there been any more overused phrase in the past year than in an abundance of caution? I'm actually not sure which term I dislike more, that one or task force. I can't stand them both. Anyhow, let's keep rolling. Midway through last year, Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, and his health officials quickly changed the rules of the game and came out with this color-coded, tiered system of reopening the state. I talk about that more specifically in this video right here. So if you're interested in exactly how it works and what the tiers do and what they mean, you can check out that video. Almost all of California now sits in the most restrictive tier, meaning schools have continued to be closed from March of last year through today, with really no hope of reopening anytime soon according to the current guidelines. Ryan Craig, a senior contributor at Forbes, recently wrote a fantastic article titled "Los Angeles, the County That Cried Wolf on Schools." And I want to bring Ryan in now to share his perspective on what happened in Los Angeles County. Hey Ryan, so thanks so much for joining me. I read your article in Forbes and thought it was fantastic. You know, as a parent here in Southern California, I've been talking a lot about, you know, all the different things happening in California with the lockdowns and the schools and what have you, and just found your article really interesting. So I thought it'd be great to have you on and have you share your perspective on it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think the general perspective is that I don't think it's well understood that what LA did this fall, no other county in the country, as far as I'm aware, did, which is to keep virtually every school in the county of 10 million people closed. Which is to say, lots of schools are closed around the country, but around the country you have parochial schools and private schools and independent schools that are open. LA County is the only county in America that made sure that every school stayed closed in September and October.
Yeah, and one of the things that you said in the article that I found interesting is that what they did back then really caused, a lot of the health crisis that's happening now, and then they really had nowhere to go from there because the schools were already closed.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say cause, but I don't think we did ourselves any favors. I mean, the term I use is, instead of doing too little, too late, LA County did too much, too early. And as a result, because if you think about it, closing schools is really probably the biggest lever that any county or city has in terms of trying to galvanize the public and change behavior, right? Because closing schools immediately changes the lives of millions of families. The term I use is that by keeping schools closed in the fall when they could have been open, LA County left zero public health dry powder for the winter surge that we all knew was coming. And now the surge is here. There's little more the county can do to make it clear to Angelenos that it's really dangerous out there. So that's the problem. Obviously, it was foreseeable. I think we have public health officials who were fairly inexperienced. No one has seen anything like it, obviously, but
Sure.
And a clue when every other county in the state of California took a different approach and allowed schools to apply for waivers and open up and so forth. LA County is the only county in California and in the country that refused to do that. Hindsight is 2020, but we should have left them open. Should have let schools open in the fall. Probably could have kept them closed in December through January, expecting this winter surge, and then hope to open them again in February. It's pretty clear that LAUSD is not going to open this year.
Right.
It will not. So hopefully by next fall, LAUSD will open. As for parochial and private and independent schools, who knows? As far as I'm aware, the county was reviewing 30 waiver applications a week back in November. I believe that has stopped. I'm not certain. Who knows what the timing is for getting that back on track. Obviously, the public health department has higher priorities at this time than getting kids back into school. But you and I know that that's critically important for the social and emotional and mental health of tens or hundreds of thousands of LA County kids. So someone should be focusing on it. It is kind of in LA, everything is open except the schools, despite the fact that we're locked down. And you look at other places in the world, it's the opposite. Schools are open, everything else is closed, and so. Someone's got their priorities backwards, and I think it's us. I think LA County has its priorities completely backwards.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. It doesn't really seem to make sense. Now, Ryan, quick question. From my research, it seems like the teachers' unions, have kind of a different motivation behind this with their list of demands and things like that. I'm not sure if that's something, you can comment on, but it just seems to me, again, the priorities are so backwards, and they're kind of using this and holding these kids hostage to everything else that they want to get the schools reopened.
Well, as long as they can credibly claim safety, and right now they can,
Right.
because it's dangerous out there, they'll be able to keep schools closed.
Yeah.
So, we have to get the rate of transmission down to at least where it was back in the fall, and then hopefully get teachers vaccinated, and then I think. Hopefully we'll have a shot. Once teachers are vaccinated, or at least the vaccine is available, hopefully most of those other ancillary arguments that the union is making will fall by the wayside. That's what I'm hoping.
Correct. I hope so too. Well, Ryan, thanks so much. I really appreciate your time today.
No, you're very welcome. Good to meet you, Danny.
Thanks so much, Ryan. You too. Nice to meet you as well. Now that you have the backstory, let's take a look at what's actually going on. As I've talked about on several of my other videos, in California, political groups like the teachers' unions actually dictate a lot of what happens in the state. And you're not going to believe what the teachers' unions actually want. As I just discussed with Ryan, it's pretty clear that they're using the pandemic as an excuse to demand a wish list of agenda items in order to reopen schools. And most of them, quite frankly, have absolutely zero to do with health and safety. Let me give you a quick sampling. The United Teachers of Los Angeles, one of the most powerful unions in the country that represents about 30,000 teachers in the LA area, has asked for the following items before allowing its teachers to go back to school? You be the judge. First on the list is a federal bailout of at least $500 million to make schools safe. Hey, that one actually makes sense. Here we go though. Fully funding the Individuals with Disabilities Act, Medicare for All, reassessing commercial and industrial property taxes, and sending the proceeds to schools. That was actually struck down in the last election, but it was in there anyway. Adding a wealth tax on California billionaires and millionaires. I actually did a video on this ridiculous proposal that you can check out right over here. That video is doing really well. They want to add another millionaire tax. They want to defund police. They want to further prevent evictions and provide more rent relief, add more paid sick leave for parents, add a charter school moratorium. That's right, no more charter schools. And they want to provide financial support for undocumented students and families. Wow. Guys, you really can't make this stuff up. And I don't know about you, but other than the federal funds to make schools safer, what do any of these other demands have to do with health and safety? The answer is that they don't. The teachers' unions are clearly and blatantly exploiting the pandemic and holding kids and parents hostage in California in order to advance their political agenda. Plain and simple. They're not really hiding it anymore. It's right there in plain sight. Now, study after study and tons of research has shown that there is no evidence of community spread from school openings. You would think that Newsom and his health officials would heed this science, but no, they use Newsom science, as my friend Brent Pella says. They just keep bowing down to the teachers' unions and pushing their agenda down the throat of everyone in California. If you have kids at home doing remote learning, you will probably agree that it's a very challenging situation for both parents and kids. The schools and the teachers are trying their best, so I'm not faulting them. But the kids aren't really learning that much, and it's taking its toll on everyone. The sad part about all of this, you guys, is that it's likely having the most damaging effects on the very same underprivileged kids and communities that the teachers' unions and Gavin Newsom are proclaiming to care about. Which brings me to another interesting point. Somewhat hidden in Gavin Newsom's and the teachers' unions' proposals, well, maybe not as hidden anymore, is this concept of equity. You see, they believe that if all the schools can't open, then private schools, religious schools, and other schools that actually can open safely also should not, because that would not be equitable. And their reopening proposal is littered with more of this type of nonsense. Basically, if everyone can't go back to school, then no one should, according to Newsom and the health officials and the teachers' unions. The question now, you guys, is where do we go from here? It appears that teachers are one of the groups that are next in line to get the vaccine. I would think logically then that once teachers do get the vaccine, the teachers' unions will lose their biggest argument against keeping schools closed. However, as you saw firsthand earlier in this video, they are also now outwardly prioritizing equity and other demands above health and safety of the kids and the teachers. In fact, there's another recent article stating that teachers' unions are pushing for more than just a vaccine to reopen, and apparently even they are now criticizing Newsom's plan to reopen schools. So it looks like they are turning on their own. What a surprise. Ultimately, my prediction is that public schools in California will not reopen this school year. I think that would be a stretch. I would like to think that they will definitely open for the 2021-2022 school year, as the University of California system has already said they would do. But who knows what their next list of demands will include. As for other schools that can reopen safely through waivers and such, I do believe they will start reopening towards the end of this school year, perhaps after spring break. But who knows? I don't think they'll go back to full capacity until the following school year, so later in 2021. Ultimately, guys, this lost year of school will have far-reaching impacts on the kids and the parents that have gone through it. They say that the cure should not be worse than the disease, but in this case, I think it definitely is. The question is, what do you think about all of this? Have you or your kids been impacted by these school closures in California? I would love to hear from you in the comments below. If you got value from this video and you're passionate about this topic like I am, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so YouTube shows it to more people and so that you get more content just like this where I talk about real estate, business, and finance on the channel. Be sure to follow me on your favorite social channels and text me. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next video.